with Mario Lopez.
What's up, y'all? With Mario Courtney Lopez, and joining us once again, our favorite attorney who knows it all, my girl Alison Triessl. How are you, Triessl?
Hi, you guys. It is so good to see you. Courtney, it's great to see you. Mario, it's great to see you. And am I bringing you guys a doozy today?
Oh, what you got?
She may be on my Hall of Fame list as one of the most awful human beings, truly.
Wait, that's a bold statement.
Wow.
I know that. I know that's true.
There's some awful individuals out there.
Okay, so let me break it down. This is Amanda Riley, who has been dubbed Scamanda, okay, for Scam Amanda.
Ooh.
From starting in 2012, she's married with children. Starting in 2012, she started a blog documenting her journey as someone who had Hodgkin's lymphoma, a very serious cancer. And she asked for donations and sympathy. And this went on until 2019. She had a GoFundMe page, among other things, and there's at least $106,000 that was raised.
Wow.
The only problem is she never had cancer.
Oh man, that's ugly and awful. Wow.
Yeah.
So let me ask you something. How did she eventually get caught? Number one.
Well, by the way, that's a really interesting story. And it starts like this. There was a TV show that I used to do called Crime Watch Daily. I don't know if you're familiar with it. Yeah. So one of the producers there posted out in the ether, does anyone have a scam that they would like us to investigate? And they receive information about this woman who's collecting all this money, and it just didn't add up, that she was going to get cancer treatments in New York, and she was asking for all, for fundraisers. And this producer started investigating, and she asked for medical records, and there didn't seem to be any. And the number of people that started questioning her story was growing and growing. People felt horrible for her, as you would, right? Somebody who's in your church, because she took a lot of money from church members, who's in your church, whose children, who in the community. When they tell you they're dying, you want to help them, okay? Right. But I want to read to you, because I think, Courtney, this as a mom, right? I mean, we're moms. I just want to share with you some of the more heinous things that Amanda did.
Okay.
She joined a cancer survivor group.
Mm-hmm.
She appeared and spoke on behalf of the Leukemia Society.
Oh my gosh, she committed.
She allowed her church congregation to provide numerous years of holiday gifts. So every holiday, the entire church would collect for the two of them, for Amanda and her family. She was featured in an inspirational magazine as a cancer patient survivor, and she attended cancer survivor conferences. She had pictures where she essentially photoshopped herself in hospitals receiving chemotherapy.
Oh, that was my question to you. Was there any visuals where people saw?
Right. Because I was going to say, in those articles, there aren't any quotes from doctors. There can't be. I mean, or else they're made up doctors.
She made them up.
She produced a video showing her going through the stages of her cancer treatment. So the prosecutors said that she posted pictures of the medication, photos of herself in hospitals, photos of her suffering from the side effects of chemotherapy. Captions attached to the photos were about her taking cancer drugs and receiving cancer treatment. So this producer starts to reach out to people and reach out to the doctors in the hospital and says, look, I know you can't give me specific information, but there's a scammer there who is going around saying she's getting cancer treatment at your hospital. And if she's not, I want you to know that she's receiving money from the community for her treatment that is not taking place.
Unbelievable that. And you're right. This is probably one of the most awful, ugly individuals I've ever heard of. Because two things I can't stand: well, being a hypocrite, number one, aside from that, but especially when you use the church and then you're going to use a fatal disease. Like,
Right.
I mean, that's
Yeah.
a special kind of evil right there. Please tell me she's getting a stern, stiff sentence.
Okay, so and one of the things that's really going to hurt her, I'm gonna talk about how she got, how they really finally got her. But when you betray the confidence, when you take something like cancer, where it's really people's vulnerability, right? They want to help you, the community rallies behind you, and you simply make that up to defraud them. Courts don't take that lightly, right? They don't take that lightly. So in prosecuting the case, a search warrant was issued in 2016, but no charges were filed. And one of the problems was that because of HIPAA, they really couldn't get medical records to confirm or deny that she, in fact, had cancer or she didn't. But what they did is they went to the IRS because she certainly was committing wire fraud by taking this money in and using it for fraudulent purposes, right? I mean, if you tell somebody that, please give me money to pay for the cancer treatment, and there's no cancer treatment, that is a crime. So the IRS ends up going after her. But even after they searched her home, she continued. She even told one of the investigators who said, what are you doing? She kept up the lie. She kept up the lie and told them, no, I have cancer and it's very serious. I can't talk right now because I'm undergoing treatment. She missed a ton of court appearances because she supposedly was so weak from the chemotherapy. And she asked for a civil harassment restraining order against the producer because she didn't want her to investigate her anymore.
Oh my gosh.
Wait.
Wow.
So she used the cancer to also get out of the court appearance.
Yeah, of course.
Oh, gosh.
Of course.
She was committed. She was method.
That's
And
insane.
by the way, if you're the judge, right, I'm just taking this all in. So she pled last week to one count of wire fraud that carries a maximum of 20 years in prison. I don't think that she'll get 20 years, but I see her spending a significant amount of time in prison for this. I really do.
What happens with the GoFundMe? Because I don't know how that works. Are the people that donated able to get their money back?
So there will be a restitution hearing, and in the sentencing, which I believe is going to take place in February, so we'll have to follow up on the story. But at that time, any victims can come forward and make a claim that they were ripped off, what was the amount, and they are entitled to that restitution. So what they think is that at least $106,000, at least $100,000 was taken. They think it's probably a lot more, but this is what they could prove. And her victims are in the hundreds. So it's a great question, but at the end of the day, and I see this all the time, even if the restitution amount looks good on paper, most victims never see that money, which is so sad, but they just don't.
Yeah, I was going to ask, what are the chances they actually get that money back?
Very little, because she spent it, right? I mean, when people perpetrate these frauds, they spend the money. They don't have like a retirement account.
Imagine her kids, because she was a mom with kids. Can you imagine how oh my gosh.
Well, and I'll tell you another really interesting part of this is, there's been a lot of question on what her husband's involvement was, because the accounts were in both of their names.
Oh, he knew then.
There's
Of course.
no
So
way
they
you
didn't
can
charge him.
like
They
that.
didn't charge him. And they didn't charge him because, remember, his defense all along has been, she duped me too.
Ooh.
And that I thought she had cancer too. Now,
did he ever go to treatment with her? Did he ever go to the doctor?
Did she ever lose her hair?
Also, like, honey, is this extra $100,000?
Mario, she shaved her head.
Wow.
Yeah, she grew back. I'm sure it grew back.
Maybe she shaved it every day.
Wow.
But do you understand, Courtney, the commitment that someone has to have to shave their head?
Unbelievable. And you know what's the saddest thing about all this? As this story gains notoriety and people become aware of it, future GoFundMe accounts with real cancer patients are going to be a little reluctant.
Skeptical.
They get questioned.
Yeah,
and,
I mean, right? Gosh.
Of course.
Yeah.
You know, here, but the bottom line to this story, because I really think in this occasion, when I spoke to the producer about this, that actually is the one that led to her arrest, all of her intel, she kept saying to me, she was so convincing and so good at it. And when people were onto her in one community, she'd move to another community. So she was so good. There's really no way to protect yourself against this, right? Because she's doing all the right things. She has a produced video, holding up a sign says, "I'm a survivor."
Wow.
And it's tearing at your heartstrings because she has 2 young kids.
Oh, those poor kids. Those
Wow.
poor kids. That is.
She is a con artist.
Yeah.
She's
I mean,
evil.
is there, maybe I
That's
missed,
why they call her Scamanda.
is there a chance she tries to like claim mental illness or something?
So it was interesting because I talked to the producer about that, right? As a defense attorney, I'm always wondering what someone's argument is going to be. But the problem with a mental health defense is that this scam went on for 7 years.
Oh.
And it was very calculating. and so, if you're truly mentally ill, and I'm talking about the criminal definition of mental illness, right? So you don't know the difference between right and wrong.
Right.
The bar is pretty high in a case like this. And I just don't see how any jury or a judge would say she was mentally ill. She didn't know what she was doing.
Yeah, no, this was a fascinating story. I hope the judge throws the book at her and she does some serious hard time to set an example. Great stuff,
Yeah.
Triessl. Thank you so much. And we will talk soon again.
Thank you.
Have a great day, everybody.
Thank you. You too.
On with Mario Lopez.